everyone, Sheree here. Today I'm going to be creating a layout for Felicity Jane using the Megan kit, and I'm starting off with this cut file. This is the Megan cut file, which you can find in the shop. So I enlarged it slightly. It's around 8 by 8 inches, but I enlarged it to fit into a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock. You do also get a butterfly and another singular flower as well, which sort of sit here in the file, but I'm not using those today. I'm just using this collection of flowers. So as you can see, I've already got coloured pattern paper behind most of the flowers, but I just wanted to show you how I'm cutting those out. Of course, you could put all the different pieces of paper through your silhouette to cut them out. However, to do this, I'm simply putting it onto, oh, this one just fallen out. I simply decide what paper I want, flip it over the whole lot, and then I'm going to trace behind the paper there. So all I did was position it onto my paper, onto the back, and just trace around the very outside line of each flower, and that gives me a guide as to where I want to cut. So it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just going right around the outside edge. I'm not even worrying about going on the inside here. I'm just tracing around the inner outside edge there. So when I pull that off, you can see I've got this strange looking flower here. But now I'm just going to use my scissors. I'll just cut this one out. So when I cut around this, I'm leaving a gap around the outside edge. So that is so that I can adhere this to the back of the cut file. So I'm just very roughly going around that edge all the way. I really want to make sure I do have that edge to be able to adhere it onto the back. So then I can simply work out which way I had it. I think it's around that way somehow. There we go. So when I flip this back over, I then have a lovely pink flower, which you can see there. So I will now go ahead and adhere all the flowers to the back of my cut file, and then I'm actually going to pierce some holes all the way around, and I'm going to stitch all the way around each of the flowers of this cut file. So that will take me a little while. So I'll go ahead and do that off camera, and then I'll come back and show you how it's going to look and put the rest of this page together. Back soon. Okay, I just thought I'd quickly show you what I'm doing with my paper piercer. I'm actually just going right around the outside edge. Just get that to focus. So I'm going right around the petals of the flower, and for the centers, after I've finished hand stitching around the petals of each flower, I'm going to use my sewing machine and do a bit of messy stitching in the middle of each flower as well. So you can see all the holes I've pierced so far just with my paper piercer. So I'll keep going, I'll get the hand stitching done and the machine stitching, and I'll come back and do the rest of the layout. Okay, so the hand stitching and machine stitching is all done now. So this piece is ready to go on the page. And I also just made a tag for my photo and stitched around the edge of that as well, and added some twine to the hole. Alright, so now I've got about an inch cut off the side of this cardstock. I'm just going to add a strip of grid paper behind this side edge, and then I'm going to add that stripy piece as well. So just trimming off that excess there. I'm going to use a 12 by 12 piece just to give me a guide as to where I need to place this stripy piece. So I'm just placing that onto the page underneath to make sure I get that 12 by 12 size, and now I'm just sticking that down. Okay, so I'm just trimming off a little bit of excess at the bottom there, and just double checking that it is 12 by 12 using my T-square ruler. Okay, so next I've got my flower piece. So I'm just working out the positioning of this. So I've got my tag there. I want to kind of tuck it in under that bottom flower. So I'm happy with that. I'm just going to get rid of the double-sided tape backing off the back of that piece, and now this can be stuck down. Okay, so just making it sure it's all really well adhered into place, and then I can move on to looking at using this tag and my photo. So I've got a library card that's from the last Felicity Jane kit, a nice yellow one that's going to tone in with the other yellows on this spread. So I'm sticking that onto the tag first, then I'm going to slightly offset the photo onto that as well. I'll also grab my stapler and add a couple of staples to the top left hand side, and now I can go ahead and add this to the page. So double-sided tape on the back of that. I'm just going to carefully lift up that bottom flower and tuck it in underneath there and stick that down. I'm going to leave that twine nice and long so it's trailing down the page. Okay, so I've got one of these pretty paper bows I'm going to add to the side of the photo. That's also from the Megan kit. And now I'm going to play with some stamps. So I'm just going to put my page aside, get all my little bits and pieces organised. Okay, so I've got the butterflies from the Megan stamp set. I'm just going to ink these up onto some scrap white cardstock. Just have a couple of goes at these just to get the best image. So that's the smallest butterfly. Now I've got the larger one. Lots and lots of ink onto that. Having another go at that one as well. I've just got stays on ink on my desk at the moment, so that's what I've used. Alright, so now I've got the dies that match these stamps perfectly. They're available in the Felicity Jane store. Under the Megan kit, you'll find those. And I've just positioned the die over the top, and I'm just using washi tape to keep the dies in place. So there we go, they're ready to use. I'm just going to cut that down a little bit, and now it's been run through my die cutting machine, and I've got these perfectly cut out butterflies to use. Absolutely love these. So much better than just having to fussy cut them. So there you go, closer look there. They're now ready to use. I'm just reorganizing myself here. I'm going to bring my page back over. Okay, so next up, I'm just going to add these butterflies to the page using a foam dot underneath each one. So I'm going to put that first one just next to the photo, and the other one is going to go the top left of the page. And you'll see towards the end of the video I do end up adding another one as well, so you'll see that a little bit later. Alright, so next I've got a little bit more stamping to do. I've got the Together word from this Essentials number 2 stamp set. So just inking that one up, I'll do a little practice stamp on that scrap there. And now I can go directly onto the page. And I'm going to put this just above that tag. So pressing that one down. Next I've got this other stamp that says Beautiful Day, that's from the Megan stamp set. So again, I'll just have a little practice on that scrap there, and then I'm going to put it just above that Together word. Okay, so that's looking good. And finally, I've got the tiny butterfly from the Megan stamp set. I'm just going to add a couple of these around the page. So just deciding where I want to put this first, and it took so long to decide I had to add more ink. So I'm just going to pop one there, ink it up again, going over to the other side of the page now, and I'll add one more as well, just down towards the bottom. Okay, so they're now done. I can put my ink away, and next I'm going to add the date to one of these tiny tags. So I've got my Felicity Jane roller date stamp, inking it up and just carefully going onto the tag. I did smudge it a little bit, had to go back again, but I'm just going to go with it. You can still tell what it says, so I'm totally fine with that. Just adding a bit of twine to the hole at the top of that little tag. Okay, so that's now ready to use. I did tie a little knot at the top as well. So next I'm using the puffy alphas to make my title, and I've joined all the letters together onto this wax paper so that I can then just go ahead and peel it off and adhere it into position. I absolutely love these alphas. Alright, so that's on there now, and I'm just adding that date tag to one of the mint mini wide paper clips on the side of my photo there. Alright, so I'm just going to add a couple of foam dots under that so it doesn't swing around and cover up my title. So I'm just sort of sticking it to the side there, and I'm going to play around with that long twine. I want that just to sort of wind and meander down the page a little bit. So I've sort of tucked it in behind the tag and behind one of the flowers there, and just letting it hang. Okay, so now I'm going to just grab my sewing machine. I needed to add some stitching down the side of the page there that I hadn't done yet. And you can see there I now have that third butterfly stamped and cut out, so now I'm going to add that one to the page. And then I'll add a little puffy heart sticker just above the bow there as well. And then this page is done. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing how this one's come together. It was a lot of fun using a cut file this time around. Let me know if you've got any questions. Just leave it in the comments below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I'll leave a link to Felicity Jane there as well, and I'll see you again soon with another project. Thanks for joining me today. Bye for now.